Hi everybody. Now we're going to make a little quick video about making the head turn. Now in the last one we talked about stopping and starting, and now we're going to talk about making the head turn. Now this will involve 2 frames, but could involve as many as 3. Let's go ahead at very minimum. So we notice that basically that I have 3 frames here up on the timeline. That with frame number 1 here, that we've sort of basically from the stopping and starting previous video, when we brought the character to a full and complete stop from the passing pose to the standing pose, that now what we're going to do with the character is we're going to basically just go ahead and simply turn the head. And by doing so, what we're going to do is we're going to basically use the exact same pose of the body, but we're going to swap out the head from 2 different drawings. So for the first one here, you'll notice I've got my body here. It's all lined up. It's in the center of the stage. It's at that bottom third it starts on. I've got a ground line and I've got a vertical line that's right here in the center of the body. Now, when I say center of the body, I'm trying to line up the distance between the overall from the furthest point out on the left of the frame here, and I mean left of the center line and to the right of the center line. So I'm going to go ahead right now and let's go ahead and go to the next keyframe, which is literally just what we call my squash and stretch drawing. So I'm going to bring that out here and kind of line that up too. There we go. Kind of put that one in there, and I'll go back and forth, check this one, the last one there. And it looks pretty close. There we go. Looks pretty close on that one. Kind of like that. Maybe the line's a little thinner, but that's okay. That's my tween drawing. That's what we call the squash and stretch. There's another page here in Canvas available for you to take a look at that. It's an optional drawing, but it's a fun drawing that basically what it does is it matches up the blur of the head going from one angle to the next. So, but we're talking about this one right now, where you can take a look at that one on that page a little bit later. So I go from our front view to our profile, and now I go to my third image, which is where I'm just looking straight at the viewer. Now this one is technically my 3/4 angle head, and I've gone ahead and put that there. But if I place back and forth between the 3, you notice that little snap I get. You see that? It gives me that little snap in between there where I'm showing the head turning. So I've gone from forward, and I'm looking over here, then I look at the viewer. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this out, these frames a little bit out. Let's say I'm frame number 1 here. I'm going to go and hit F5. So frame number 1 just stands for 1, goes there for 1 second. Okay? 1 second of just looking forward. Then the head turns, and then we're going to go ahead and have the character look at us for a second. So I'm going to frame number 3 here. I'm going to hit F5, extend that out. There you go. So now I'm looking basically 1 and 2. Now that head turns pretty quickly, right? It turns awfully quick. Right? Matter of fact, it moves back a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and make this guy right here moving forward just a little bit. Now that I see that, that's better. I like that better, how that works. Now, so I've got this one, but I've got that spin right there in the middle. So if I play this, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Control and go to Loop Playback, and then I'll go ahead and hit my play button. See, it's just basically playing this. Now you can see where between the two, that from the end of the video where it just snaps back versus where it springs from the middle part. Spring, snap, spring, snap, spring, snap. So I've kind of got this spring one, I've got this in between. Now let's go ahead back in here, and I'm going to extend that out and go F5 one more time just to see what that looks like. Now let's go ahead and watch this. Notice we see that spring a little bit more when we spring, snap, spring, snap, spring, snap. Now let's take a look, try one more time. Go even one more with that mid drawing. Now in some cases you can go too far. Let's go ahead and take a look at it again. Snap, there we go. Spring, snap, spring, snap. On the spring one, you can really see that time it takes for that head to make that swap on over. Boom, it goes really quickly. Now let's see what happens if I go even one more frame. That'll probably be too much. Let's try it again. Snap, spring, snap, spring. So that spring is almost distracting now. It's almost on there too long to have it in there. So I'm going to go back here on this one, click on the spring one here, which is my tween, and Shift F5, pull it back one. I like that right there where it's at. Now, what I need to do now is after this second is over here, this time, I need to have this character move forward. Okay, I'm not move forward, I'm sorry, but look forward again. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. At the end of the sequence here, I'm going to go ahead and take this sequence right here. Okay, and I'll double click it to bring that whole thing there, and I'm going to right click on it and say copy frames. And I'm going to go back over to here, right click, and I'm going to go ahead and paste frames. Put that right back in that spot. Okay, so now we're basically going to be turning back again. We're getting ready to make that turn back profile. Now let's go ahead and take this front view, this side view, excuse me, the front view again. Right click, and I'm going to copy that frame. And then right here, I'm going to paste that frame. And we'll go ahead and take that up to the 3-second mark here. And F5 that. Now what should happen is that we should get the character looking towards us and then looking away from us. All right, let's go ahead and go. 1, 2, 3. That works out pretty well. So here's what's going on with this timeline we're looking at here. So we got a 1-second pause and then a spring. So second pause, spring, 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 spring. That looks pretty good. All right, so now we're all set up with how to make that head squash and stretch, turn toward the viewer and away from the viewer. So go ahead and give that a try yourself now.